Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear tonight is not a rumor. It's not a leak from some unknown source. It's not speculation from social media. This is a documented financial deal, signed quietly, finalized in secret, and revealed only because investigative journalists refused to let it stay buried. A $500 million investment, a foreign intelligence-linked royal, and a cryptocurrency company tied directly to the Trump family, all coming together just days before Donald Trump returned to the White House. And months later, U.S. national security policy suddenly changed in a way that benefited the same foreign power. Coincidence or something far more dangerous? Let's walk through this slowly, because once you see the timeline, everything changes. In January 2025, while the world was focused on Trump's upcoming inauguration, something massive happened behind closed doors. A little-known cryptocurrency company called World Liberty Financial quietly signed a deal worth $500 million. Not from an American investor, not from Silicon Valley, but from a firm connected to one of the most powerful intelligence figures in the Middle East, Sheikh Tahnoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan, a man who isn't just wealthy, he isn't just royalty, he is the national security advisor of the United Arab Emirates, the overseer of intelligence operations, and the controller of some of the largest sovereign wealth funds on Earth. In intelligence circles, he's known as a shadow power broker, and now his group owned nearly half of a Trump-linked crypto company, 49%. Let that sink in. A foreign intelligence-connected royal became the largest shareholder in a business tied to the sitting U.S. president's family, and almost no one knew. Here's where the story stops being just uncomfortable and starts becoming alarming. This wasn't some future investment. Money moved immediately. Reports show that nearly $200 million from the initial payment flowed straight into Trump-linked entities, not years later, not slowly, almost instantly. An additional tens of millions went to business partners tied to Trump allies. This wasn't a company growing over time. This was wealth transferred, fast and quietly. The signatures on the deal? Eric Trump. Representatives tied to Trump's inner political circle, all finalized just days before inauguration, meaning the incoming administration was about to oversee national security policy, while the president's family had just received massive foreign investment. And the investor wasn't just any foreign businessman. This was the UAE's top intelligence power, which raises the obvious question, why would a foreign security chief pour $500 million into a Trump-linked crypto firm? The answer didn't take long to appear. Before Trump returned to office, the United States had strict controls on exporting advanced AI technology, especially high-end semiconductors, the kind used in artificial intelligence, military systems, surveillance networks, and cyber warfare. The Biden administration had blocked many of these exports to the UAE. Why? Because U.S. intelligence feared the technology could be shared with China or used in ways that threatened American security. These chips were considered too sensitive, too powerful, too dangerous to freely sell. Then Trump returned, and suddenly, everything changed. Within months, restrictions were lifted. The UAE was approved to receive hundreds of thousands of advanced AI chips every year, some of the most powerful computing technology on the planet. The same UAE whose intelligence chief had just invested $500 million into Trump's family business. The same UAE that had been pushing aggressively for access to this technology. And suddenly, they got it. No long delays, no major resistance, approval. Which leads to the question no one in power seems eager to answer. Was this foreign investment connected to this policy shift? Let's be clear. Foreign governments invest in American companies all the time. That's normal. What is not normal, and what has never happened at this scale, is a foreign intelligence-linked royal investing directly in a president's family business. Right before that president takes office, followed by policy changes that directly benefit that foreign power. This is exactly the kind of situation U.S. ethics laws were designed to prevent, because even if no law is technically broken, the appearance of influence is dangerous. It undermines trust. It raises the risk of compromised decision-making, and it opens the door for foreign leverage over American leadership. That's why critics across the political spectrum are sounding alarms, not just about corruption, but about national security. Trump-linked representatives insist there was no coordination, no policy trade, no influence. They say the crypto company operates independently. They say Trump himself had no role after taking office. They say the chip approvals were unrelated. But here's the problem. Even if that were true, the timeline is impossible to ignore. Massive foreign money enters Trump family business. Then sensitive U.S. tech policy flips in that country's favor. That's not how coincidence usually looks. That's how leverage looks. This wasn't a hotel deal. This wasn't real estate. This was cryptocurrency, a sector already struggling with transparency, regulation, and foreign influence. Crypto allows money to move fast, quietly, across borders, which makes it the perfect tool for financial pressure, hidden partnerships, and influence operations. National security experts have warned for years that hostile or foreign governments could use crypto as a backdoor into political systems. And now one of the most powerful intelligence figures in the Middle East owns nearly half of a Trump-linked crypto firm. That is not a small risk. That is a massive vulnerability. This story isn't really about cryptocurrency. It isn't even just about Trump. It's about what happens when private business interests collide with public power, when family wealth intersects with foreign governments, when national security decisions happen in the shadow of massive financial deals. Because once leaders become financially entangled with foreign powers, democracy weakens, policy becomes questionable, and citizens lose trust. This is exactly what America has accused other countries of doing for decades. And now critics are asking, is the United States becoming what it once condemned? Lawmakers are already calling for investigations. Ethics experts are demanding transparency. Journalists are digging deeper into financial records. And intelligence analysts are watching closely. Because if this deal truly influenced policy, even indirectly, it could become one of the most serious conflicts of interest in modern U.S. political history. And if it didn't? Then the administration still allowed a foreign intelligence-linked royal to gain massive financial influence tied to the president's family. Either way, it's a problem. This isn't about left versus right. This is about power, money, and influence. When $500 million flows from a foreign intelligence power into a president's family business, and U.S. policy suddenly shifts in that same country's favor, citizens have every right to ask questions, hard questions. Because democracy only survives when leaders are accountable. And silence is exactly what corruption depends on. The real story isn't whether laws were broken. The real story is whether America's decisions are being shaped by foreign money. And that's something every citizen should care about.